Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden channel. I'm taking you indoors with me today and there are two reasons for that. The first one, if you follow my previous videos, I bet you know what the situation out there is. It's still a very frosty, cold wind and I'm not feeling it today. I was out there a second ago because I was watering my containers, and this is something maybe as a reminder for you as well. If you haven't had the chance to do it, maybe check how dry your containers are and go out there and water them as well. At least if your weather situation is pretty much the same to what I had here in the past 3 weeks, we haven't had a lot of rain. Surprisingly, the borders there are still looking fairly nice. I just checked underneath the mulch and the soil hasn't dried out. I think it really has to do with the fact that there is a thick layer of mulch on top of it, so it holds the moisture in the ground. And I think the second reason is that we're just next to the river here, and each night, and especially in the morning, I can see that there is a lot of moisture in the air, and I think that also helps the entire situation a lot. Nevertheless, the containers, they dry out really fast, especially in the wind now. So it's a good time to really check them almost every second day now. Go out there, water them and make your plants happy, especially the evergreens, because a pansy in a container shows you instantly if it is happy or not. It keeps its flower head hanging down, looks very sad. Evergreens don't do that. When an evergreen shows you that it's not happy most of the time, then it's already too late. So go out there, water your evergreens, check them, make them happy. Second reason on why we're indoors is that there are really some nice projects I can do with you in here. You know that I did a lot of spring sowing here, and a lot of those annuals, they're looking so fantastic. I want to give you a quick update on some of them. Some of them need potting and some other need pinching. Not only the annuals do need pinching and some attention, also do the dahlias. They really came to life. I'm so surprised. I put them upstairs where we actually have the renovation going on. And since I can't really go there, there's still no floor in there, I kind of keep on forgetting about them every now and then. I just checked if they still have water, if they still have moisture. So I went up there and I was so surprised how much growth the dahlias have taken on. I'm going to start with them because they're just standing right in front of me. Just look at those dahlias. Do you remember we potted them up like 5 or 6 weeks ago, and this is what happened in the meantime. 3 different varieties here. In the front, this is definitely the nicest one. It is a red variety that I grew last year, and it's called Kenora Makeup. It grows 1 meter to 1 meter 40 in height. It was great for cut flower arrangements. And I'm super happy seeing this because when I was at the garden center the last time, they had the same variety again. Tubers were looking really good there, so I bought 4 more. So I can have a nice, good drift with a big impact at the back of a garden on a slope. I really want to have a nice area with dahlias, so I think that would be just wonderful there. Next tray are 2 different varieties. Both are peach flowers. First one, this is what I grew last year. It's called Preference. It grows 1 meter 20 to 1 meter 50 in height. And I think it's all right. It had 2 stems, but there was a really good, decent-sized tuber that I put in here, and I'm still hoping for more to come. Even more surprising or sad is this side. There's nothing. I separated one of the tubers from the mother plant. It had a stem, an eye, a tuber. It looked really good, but nothing. So what I'm going to do later on, tip it over and see if anything is going on in there. Third one that is still looking really nice. This is a brand new variety that I just shopped this year. It's called Babylon Bronze. Peach flowers, 1 meter to 1 meter 20 in height, and it has produced lovely stems, 3 of them in total. And then do you remember in my last video that happened indoors when I showed you my zinnias, the tray of zinnias that were a complete failure? They were really stringy and not nice. I tried to salvage as many as possible, potted them on. A lot of them are still looking kind of stringy, but that doesn't really bother me because they've really started growing into nice, good, decent-sized plants now. They produce true leaves. Most of them have a second set of true leaves, so I think it was really worth going in here and trying to make the most out of the situation. I bet you understand my excitement about my dahlias because I wasn't upstairs for at least 5 days, I would say, and I just quickly wanted to hop there in the morning and see if I need to water anything. And I was greeted by this jungle. This really happened within the past days. So pleased about it. This makes my day, but it is a good time to go in now and pinch your plants. So if you are growing your dahlias in containers such as I do indoors or in a greenhouse, and they're at the same stage to what mine are, now is a good time to nip off the top growing point. And by doing that, you do 2 things. The first thing is you encourage your plant to produce more side shoots, and those side shoots will produce a bushier and bigger and thicker plant in general, which always looks really nice in a border. And the second thing what it does is you encourage it to produce more flowers, obviously, because you have more side branches and stems. So what I'm going to do now is flip the phone and show you on where you want to nip off the top growing point. I want to show you on the Kenora Makeup variety how to pinch them, because they've grown with such vigor. They've got really nice sturdy stems already, and I can show you what you want to see, what you're looking for. So if you just follow the leaf all the way to the leaf axis, you can tell that right at the stem there is a tiny light green dot, and this is where the plant is going to produce a side shoot, and this happens on each side of this stem actually. So each and every single leaf axis has the potential to produce 2 more stems. So what I will do is I will count normally 3, 1, 2, 3, but there is another nice one up here, 4th one, and that looks really nice and good as well. So I think here I will really come in and nip this top growing point off so that I have 4 leaf axes left, and they could potentially produce 8 side branches in total. The way on how I pinch it is quite easy. I just come in with my normal kitchen scissors. I sanitize them quickly because I want to make sure that no infection or anything that I cut before can go into the plant here, because there is an open wound essentially. So what I do is I just come in, and as always, I always cut on an angle, nip it off, and this is all there is to it. So now the plant is not going to continue growing here. It is going to continue putting more energy into all these side shoots here and produce a lot of side branches. Let me tell you, just cutting that one dahlia stem already, it smells like dahlia in here now, and there is a scent of summer. I think you know it if you grow dahlias. If you go in there and you data them, they have a quite distinct smell to them, and I enjoy that. Also when you go in there and you cut them for cut flower arrangements. So the kitchen area now is kind of filled with a scent of summer, and I'm like, oh my God, that is just what I need when it's so cold and gusty outside. Absolutely wonderful. What I'm going to do is work my way through and pinch all of the dahlias so that I'll end up with really lovely bushy plants. So the moment of truth, let's see if there's any life in here. First thing that you can always do, obviously, is just see if any roots are at the base of the pot, and there is nothing, literally nothing. So all I'm going to do now is I'm not going to start digging in here, because I feel like if I start digging, if there is a fresh growth, I might just break it basically. So all I do is I'll just tip it over and see what I find in there. So let's see. This is going to be just for the compost heap, yes or no. Okay. Well, there's something in here, and I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad thing actually. I'm just going to break the soil apart gently now, because even though nothing happened in here, maybe I can still use it for another project. Oh, I see something, but I'm not sure what it is. No, that is not good. And that is a weed that is just rooting in here. No, haven't found the tuber really yet. There it is. I think it starts to grow actually. Oh. Okay, I'm not sure. You know what I'm going to do? Now there's something here. No. What I'm going to do is I'll take a bucket of water now, and I just really wash it all off just to see what I'm facing here. This is literally the bucket where I normally wash Alfie in, where she needs to stand in a little bit of water when she's really dirty coming from the garden. So let's see. This is a big clump here. Obviously water, again, it's not hot because I don't want to boil anything. it's mushy. Oof. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what to think about this entire situation here. And on top of it, there is this weird white stuff. No. Look at it. I can even like, oh, it's squishy. Ew, look at this. No, this dahlia is no good at all. That tuber was definitely for the compost heap. Luckily, I discovered it. So what I'm going to do now is quickly clean this entire mess. Now this goes straight onto the compost heap. And I think so does the soil. Because there is something moldy, weird in there. So I don't want to put it into another container. That lovely mushy tuber went straight out there onto the compost heap, and in the end I'm really happy that I discovered it now, because otherwise it would just sit up there for another 4 or 5 weeks, and only when I take the other ones and just want to place them out in the landscape I would have discovered what is going on in there. And now I have more space, which is really lovely, because I still want to show you my annuals, because there are a couple of things I need to do there as well. Some pinching, some of them really need to go into bigger planters now, because I really want to make sure that they have the ability and opportunity to grow on and develop a good, strong root system. So what I will do now is quickly take some of my annuals and show you what I'm going to do there. Here are 3 of my trays, and I'm so happy with the results, and I'm going to work with all 3 of these trays. Let me just show you bit by bit. So the front row, these are my cosmos, and I couldn't be happier. Germination was really perfect. I think almost all of them came up, almost all of them really started growing into really wonderful little plants, and you can tell by the color of the stem that they're going to be different flowers. On the right, there is a red variety that is going to produce red flowers. It's called Rubenza, if I'm not wrong. Where's the label? Here. This is how you write it. So let me quickly push it back in, and then on the right, you can already tell by the color of the stem, they have this like peachy apricot kind of color, and this is the variety called Apricot Lemonade. And what happened here, especially on this variety, quite a lot of the cosmos, they start producing buds. And in a way, you kind of feel like, oh, wonderful, I'm going to see flowers, but this is no good, because you really want to have the same effect that you have on your dahlias. You want to make sure that they branch out and they're going to be like bushy, lovely plants. So it is just the right time to come in here and pinch these as well. I pot them on and then I pinch these. Second tray really excites me a lot. On the left, never grown this before. This is hibiscus called Mahogany Splendor, and I simply grow it for its absolute beautiful red foliage. You can tell that it starts to tint up already, and the more leaves appear, the more they turn red. I'm really excited. They're at the stage where I need to pot them on, literally. Then here on the right, there's a grass. This is a red Hypanacetum called Red Jewels. I'm not going to do anything here because it still thrives. It's kind of happy. I just make sure that I keep it nice and moist. But just having this tray standing in the windowsill and the sun coming from the back, I can tell you this grass has an incredible color. It's really like ruby red diamonds glowing in the sun. Well, not ruby red diamonds, but just like rubies glowing in the sun, basically. Last tray, this is my vegetable tray, and this is quite exciting because they went super fast. This is the result of 2.5 weeks, believe it or not. On the right, I've got a blend of beets, and I think they're called Lollipop, if I'm not wrong. Yes, they're called Lollipop. So you can tell by the label all different kind of colors, and even by the foliage, you can see like this one here is just pure green, nothing red in there, and then you have some with like red veins, and it is just a nice blend. Even with the beets, you could potentially go in here and just pick some of those leaves and put them on your salad, because already the leaves, they taste like beet and they're really delicious. I'm not going to do it though. I'm just going to keep them undisturbed as they are. But here on the left, this is my fennel, and I'm like, wow, how fast did this grow? I did not see this coming. I never had fennel looking so good. So what I'm going to do, obviously, since it starts to collapse here, I'm going to pot it on into way bigger pots, water it in, fertilize it, and I'm really excited because I think this is the first year I'm really going to harvest nice, good, decent-sized fennel for once. I'll work my way through those trays now, and I will start with the cosmos. So the first thing I do is I will pot them on, and then I'll just go through plant by plant and see which is strong enough so I could pinch them. Obviously, those that have produced flower buds are the ones where I really need to get in there. Then I'm going to pot on the hibiscus and finally the fennel. And for the potting, I just use a multi-purpose garden compost from the garden centre. Nothing too cheap because you really want to have a nice, lofty, rich soil already. And then in the end, I'm going to fertilize them. I'm not going to enrich the soil with a starting fertilizer. Today, I will give the plants a liquid starting fertilizer. And the reason for it is that now they have developed good root systems, so they're not like tiny seedlings anymore. So you could really come in there and fertilize them. But I'm going to explain to you how I do it after I potted everything on. Okay, everything is potted up and I pinched the cosmos, and I even can tell you why those cosmos started producing first flower buds, because they were stressed. Taking them out of their pots, they had a really good root system, roots growing everywhere, very long and stringy already, so they were longing for more soil, more nutrition, and they were so stressed that they thought, okay, we need to produce flowers now in order to produce seeds so we have offspring. But those flower buds are gone. I was like brave enough to cut them off all, even the last one. The last one I was like, oh, maybe I should just leave one and see how that comes to flower. But then I was like, no, you want to have good, robust, strong plants, so chop it all off. This is what I've done. They have a lot of new fresh soil now. Everything is in bigger pots, which is wonderful. What I do is I will fertilize them now. So I haven't watered everything because my fertilizer is a liquid fertilizer. I have it standing next to me, and I'm going to follow my grandma's regime because Nana, she really knew how to have beautiful annuals and vegetables, and she swore on fertilizing with a liquid tomato fertilizer. And this is exactly what I'm going to do as well. The first time you fertilize them, you're going to do a very light dose though. So normally it says 1 cap on 3 liters of water. So I'm going to do half of that. And then in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to do the exact same thing again. And then the third time, I will do the entire dose of how much fertilizer they need. But by then, we're almost at the time where I can actually put them outside even, because then we're in the beginning of May. So yeah, in 4 weeks, all these plants could potentially really go outside and I could plant them in the landscape. There will be tons and tons of videos where I will be planting. But what I want to do now first, obviously, is I want to flip the phone and quickly show you how everything looks in its new pots. An entire tray full of beauty just waiting. All my apricot color cosmos are in here, plus at the back 3 pink ones. And I always like to use colored pots because, I mean, you can tell by the stem what color the cosmos is gonna flower, but just in case, the pot is a good reminder for me later on in the game. And this is why I always like to keep these colorful pots. Then next to the cosmos is a fennel, and in total I think I have 14 plants if I'm not mistaken. They look a little limp and weak right now. They definitely need some watering, and I think they will definitely benefit from a good fertilizer. So let me just swing around, we just do a quick tour of everything. Here I have more cosmos, these are my red ones. Just squeezed really in between those dahlias. So that I was losing one dahlia was not bad, because in the end I could really utilize every single square centimeter that I had. More cosmos here, with all those beautiful dahlias. And then if we just swing over to the windowsill, this is where I put the mahogany splendor, the hibiscus. So you can tell here on the left, there are my snapdragons. They are looking so good, plus some digitalis, peach color digitalis, foxgloves. And then here are my first hibiscus. Then there are all of my bell peppers and chilies. They are looking really good by now, I think. More tomatoes are here. Aubergines are here, and then the last of the hibiscus. So it is really good time to fertilize and water everything in thoroughly now. I've got half a liter of my organic fertilizer mixed with water. It kind of looks like a dark beer a little bit. Well, no foam on top of it, but it smells even good. It almost smells a little bit like a vegetable broth. To be fair, this is why I always love to use organic fertilizer. And all I do now is I don't do overhead watering. So this is why I have these plastic containers here. So I can come in. I might just lift one plant out not to make a big mess. So just pour everything in here. And the reason for it is that when you do it like this, the containers, the soil will soak up the moisture from underneath, and the plants will be pushed down into the soil from the water just naturally. And this is just the best thing how you can water your plants in containers. I'm always surprised how much time a project like this can take, because believe it or not, I spent 4 hours with you in the kitchen potting some plants up and pinching them. It's 5:45 in the evening now, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little girl, because Alfie just sits there on the carpet with big eyes looking at me like, can we go out please? And I'm like, okay, we'll do it. Even though the wind might be still cold, I'm just going to wrap myself in layers and layers, hood, scarf, whatever I can find, cap, go out for a walk now. At least the sun is out, which is beautiful. I just want to say thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was interesting for you. And obviously I would love to welcome you in my garden very soon again. Take care, guys. Bye.